everyone, Łukasz here from the Power BI team. I'd like to introduce you to the pulse chart. The pulse chart lets you show data points over time, drawing specific events to the attention of your audience. So here I'm just watching the pulse chart play through the unemployment rate since 1948. And all the red dots are showing us when a recession started. And what you can see is that the pulse chart is letting my audience clearly see what's happening, and that every recession precipitates an increase in the unemployment rate, which makes sense. But there's something that's visceral about seeing that unfold over time. Now, the pulse chart is great because it provides you a nice little tooltip, gives you some descriptive information, but pulse chart also is fully interactive. So if I select on an individual dot, you'll see that it raises the context and it filters other parts of the report as well. So here I can see that this particular recession happened during the Eisenhower administration. So pulse chart is really nice for showing specific events, overlaying them over top of a time series. Let's see how easy it is to create a pulse chart. So here what I have is I have the same pulse chart. And you'll see that I have the autoplay property set. Let's just pause it here real quick. So let me start by showing you the data format for the pulse chart. And if I switch over to a table, you'll see that I have a date series here, and then I have my measure that I'm going to have as the line series here. And then what I can see is that I have a name and a duration, and these are going to be the events. And you see that for most rows, there are no events, and then whenever I want to have a red dot, for example, appear, I'm going to go and select the recession here. So that's the basic data format. It's really easy to go create that data format within your own reports. Let's take a look briefly about all the settings that we have. So first you have a date timestamp and a value. So this is your timeline and this is the series. The pulse chart supports one series. Then you have an event title and an event duration. You also have the ability to set the event size based off of data. So if you had a count of items that you would wanted, you could make that bubble larger or smaller. Lastly, there's a runner counter, which will show a little runner up here in the right hand side where it'll show you the cumulative value of something. So you can go set that if you'd like. For formatting properties, there's a significant number of them. All the basic properties are there, but then you also have the ability to select the series color, which is great. We have a gaps feature. What that does is sometimes you have a time series, but you're missing an hour of time, for example. It will automatically detect that if you turn that on and try to show a timeline that's more appropriate. The pop-up, so when I click on one of these dots, you'll see this is the pop-up. You get to control whether it's always on the top, so that's what I have set here, or whether it's on the top or the bottom. You'll see that depending on whether this dot is towards the bottom of the chart, it'll show at the bottom, or if it's more towards the top, it'll show to the top. You can also set the fill color, text color, set the text size. You can say whether it shows the time or not. So in this case, that's this piece of information right here, and so forth. So there's a lot of customization that you can have there. For dots, you can choose their base color. So here you can set the color, you can set the default size, the min size, max size, and the transparency. And that way you can see the data through the dot. And then the last thing that you can do here that's really kind of important is, for the x-axis, you can select the bottom position or the center position. So the reason that we added the center position is that sometimes you have data that oscillates between positive and negative numbers, and so when that happens, it's really hard to see a traditional kind of axis. So we created a different kind of axis here for center. I've selected bottom for this more traditional representation. You can also adjust playback options. So for example, I have autoplay turned on. What that means is that when the report loads, I'll be able to have the line automatically play through. You can set the speed, you can set the duration of the pause. So let me just play this really quickly. So what you'll see here is that when I hit a recession, there's a brief pause, and that allows the user to read the rest of the rest of the report, and then it proceeds, and that's pause duration. Start delay, which is just how long it takes before the automatic animation starts. And then you can set the buttons color. There's also a runner counter that you can, that if you provide it data on the other tab, then you'll be able to set some properties here on the runner counter as well. So there you have it. Just in a couple of easy steps, a pulse chart, a great visualization for Power BI that allows you to show time series data annotated with key events with all the interactivity that you expect from Power BI.